to start somewhere. It has to start sometime. What better place than here? What better time than now?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're back, allegedly, with Scott and Dave. After about, month and a half hiatus, Dave had to take a little road trip. Had to take care of some stuff, search for himself, and
I took a plane down to Texas. We spoke about that in the previous episode. Not quite a road trip. It was more like a very expensive flight through various terminals and dealing with all kinds of weirdos.
If you guys ever saw Fear and Loathing, it was pretty much like that.
Pretty much. So, it's like, I don't know if any of you guys ever seen that show, Parts Unknown, Destinations Unknown by Anthony Bourdain. Goes around to strange locations of the world trying out different foods like tacos and centipedes on sticks.
Anthony Bourdain's a fucking pimp, dude. That dude's awesome.
We are allegedly still the alleged show, and
you said, don't know if Anthony Bourdain's a pimp. Anthony Bourdain's a fucking pimp. Purple belt in jiu-jitsu at fucking 57, motherfuckers.
And eat centipedes for a living. So I guess it is kind of cool. But anyway, I'm back, and we're kind of thinking of creating like maybe a 4-series theme show instead of the Parts Unknown featuring Anthony Bourdain. It's going to be Where the Fuck Am I featuring David Myers. Because
it's appropriate.
Considering this trip and down to Texas, I haven't been on a plane since I went to Eastern Europe, which has been a while. But I have been to a lot of strange places, and for some reason, I never thought I would be actually reminiscing and be glad to be back in good old Western Pennsylvania, which, we're looking outside right now, and
gray as fuck. East Coast Seattle, son.
Yeah, it is raining. It is some kind of fusion between Eastern Europe and Seattle, because we get massive, it doesn't even rain that much. It's just like a low-hanging
it's just dark all the time.
It's dark, yes.
It's just dark all the time.
It's overgrown. We have all the derelict factories and, overgrown houses that you're not sure if it's a heroin den or, the dog house. It's really all the same. Which is actually, some of you probably remember our topic of interest, Svetlana and her Polak coven of immigrants. I guess it makes sense. It must remind them of home here. But actually, I also knew a person, this guy, he was an investment banker who came down from Minneapolis, and I met him in D.C., and I asked him why he left, and he said because of all the Somalis, and I thought, well, it makes sense for all the Slavs to come to Western Pennsylvania. It's basically the same thing. We're a failing economy ruled by a Democrat socialist mayor.
Cold winters, great summers. It makes sense.
A lot of heroin. We haven't had the crocodile yet, though, but I think we're working in that direction. And anyway, so I was thinking about, why would there be so many Somalis that moved to Minneapolis? Maybe somebody back in the 90s got pissed off about that chain email about sending money to Nigerian princes and never get any payback for it, so maybe they sent out a joke.
I got one of those, dude.
Yeah. Somebody probably, and I would do this myself if I had come up with the idea first. I would send a chain email to one of the 5 computers out in the Sudan and say, hey, look, guys, come here. It looks just like Sudan. And then they got off the plane and were like, what the fuck is this? But yeah, he told me he didn't like it there because they just came in and we keep talking about immigrants, but he told me he got tired of getting spit on by people in the bars. And I mean,
well, immigrants are an important topic of conversation.
It is.
A lot of people currently want to discuss how we need to get rid of illegal immigrants and we need whatever, and that's fair. If that's your opinion, that's a fair opinion. However, you cannot dispute the fact that this entire country is populated by immigrants at some point in the past 3 generations. There are very few people that are American citizens that are deeper than 3 generations in.
I mean, that is true, but there's a difference in the attitude, I think, nowadays compared to, the Ellis Island days when people came over and they were given English classes. They were very rigorously vetted for diseases and social incapacities. Basically, they were screened in much the way a lot of other Western countries are now as to whether or not they're going to be, a productive, useful member of the society. Like I can't just move to Ireland. Believe me, I've tried, and other Scandinavian countries. And yeah, unless you have something to contribute, there's really no reason. But then you got a lot of people now who come here and try to throw around this melting pot idea, and we're all immigrants, and we all just want to be ourselves, and it's really kind of the outlier. Unless you're trying to move to somewhere like, I don't know, Chad or something. I don't think they really care. They'll just steal your shoes. But as far as we don't want to get too serious about this. But as far as I say about the Somalians who thought that they were showing up in the desert again, because obviously if you look at a map, Minneapolis looks like it's probably a semi-arid, maybe brush climate or something. But to them, what I would say is, if you don't like it here, then take your fake red Lacoste shoes and click your heels and get the hell out of here.
Also, if you don't like Minneapolis, there's other states.
Yeah, they just really need to click them heels and be like, there is no place like a home. And get out. Sorry.
I guess.
But anyway, that's my thing. But speaking of that, as long as we're riding the soul train of humor on this topic, I was watching the Weather Channel today, and I saw this thing. They were showing in Florida, this neighborhood. I think it was in Tampa or something. But anyway, it was one of those like storm stories after the hurricane type things where there's really not a lot of suspense because they make it seem like you don't know who's going to die, but you can be pretty sure to tell that the person doing the interview didn't die. But anyway, they were showing pictures of the devastation of the neighborhood, and
what kind of a storm was it?
I think it was a hurricane. There's definitely a lot of water. And anyway, they were showing footage on the street, and there was a group of these people who had lost their homes. Most of them were African American, I'd assume. They were sitting under a sign for the Family Dollar, and I don't think the Weather Channel did this on purpose, but if you ever see the Family Dollar sign, it's big orange, the warm colored and white sign. You got family on the top, dollar under that, and the entire right side of the sign was ripped off. So all it said was "Famdo," and I had a bunch of guys sitting under it. I thought that was funny because we have this friend RJ who he recently moved down to Florida. So where in Florida is it? Like
Murdoch.
I don't know where that is. But shout out to RJ because, and please, if you're listening to this, me and Scott, we don't have food stamps or 2 nickels to rub between us. So send us a box of oranges or something because, yeah, we really need it. But anyway, RJ introduced us. He's a connoisseur of memes on the internet. And let's talk about that for a little bit. What is a meme, Scott? Lend me your expertise. We were talking about.
Okay, so I wasn't very well schooled in memes. I knew what people had said. Oh, look at this meme, and it's a picture, and there's some words, and it's funny, and haha. That's not what a meme is. Memes were invented on a social media platform you've probably never heard of called 4chan. And memes were a way to sarcastically respond to a comment with a picture. Sometimes you would add words to that picture, but it was a very underground way of snidely and sarcastically responding to a comment. Because mainstream society did not understand that, but found those pictures hilarious, they think that just sending a picture with words on it makes it a meme. That's not what a meme is. That's not what a meme's for, and you're fucking doing it wrong. However, that's how it is now. So that is the new evolution of the meme, and in the incarnation of that new evolution of the meme, we have Dat Boy.
Dat Boy, indeed. Which, yeah, Scott is right. What used to be an original product of innovation and creativity, the meme has turned into basically, it's like when Chef Boyardee used to be a chef and create his own products. Now it's basically a carbon copy factory
Shit in a can.
Shit in a can that has just a different label slapped on it, but really it's the same thing. Like I'm sure you're familiar with Bad Luck Brian and, who's that guy? Scumbag Steve, borrows your Cheetos, wipes his hands on your cat. those kind of memes. So basically, it's a carbon copy of itself.
That moment when ... That's not a meme. That's not a meme. It's just not. That's the new meme.
And see, this proves my point from several episodes ago that Scott is indeed a hipster. He even has the glasses right now. So, word up. But anyway.
Fuck you. Jonathan Davis gave me these glasses.
Yep, that boy gave them to you. Speaking of which, that boy. What is that boy?
Okay, so from the research that I've concocted, Dat Boy originally started long ago, and the original meme was, I think this happened somewhere around one of the first high-profile cops shooting a juvenile black child.
Yeah, there was a...
So, yeah,
it was a mugshot of a guy who kind of looked like Willis, and under the mugshot, it just said "that boy," and somebody had drawn like a.
It was like most wanted on the top. It was like a mugshot. It looked like a clip from your local news. Most wanted criminal captured. This young 14-year-old, maybe black kid.
Oh, he was black.
They photoshopped a giant handlebar mustache on him, and underneath it said "Dat Boy."
Yeah,
that his name was Dat Boy.
Was it really a handlebar? I thought it was a Fu Manchu. Or
no, maybe it was a handlebar. He curled up.
He was that boy who said, "I smoked crack before it was cool."
Right? So that was the original Dat Boy. Several months later, somebody took Dat Boy's name and added it to a GIF of a fat Pac-Man 3D looking character dancing, and it said, "Dat Boy, oh shit, what up?"
Yeah, and now the poster child of the Dat Boy meme movement has become like a really poorly animated frog on a unicycle.
Well, it's not even poorly animated. It's literally a default GIF on a very rudimentary GIF production program. So it's just like in the default GIFs that you use to try to learn how to use a GIF production program. Nobody even somebody created it, but it comes specifically with a GIF creation program. So they just literally stole that, threw it on there, boom. That's how dumb you are, America.
Which is actually, that's the case with a lot of these memes. Like, are you familiar with the successful black man meme?
No.
The successful black man meme. I will. The successful black man meme. It's like you got this. The picture of it is obviously a black guy. He's wearing a business suit and carrying some kind of notebook. It's actually just something that was ripped out of the clip art section of PowerPoint.
Okay, see, exactly. That's the same idea with the unicycle frog. It was a default something that you could use in a program. Yeah.
And that actually, I kind of like that meme because the top part of it is always some kind of reference to, a stereotypical black behavior or action or a rap song, and then under it, it reverses itself, kind of like the what is that? The almost politically correct redneck. For example, the top half would say, "I got 99 problems." On the bottom it says,
"But fishing ain't one."
No, I got 99 problems. Out of 100 on my law school test, correct. Something like that.
Okay.
Or like, I always beat my kids in chess every Thursday. But anyway, back to Dat Boy.
I don't always beat my kids, but when I do, I beat them to death.
Yeah. No, that's definitely not the successful end of the black man. So yes, Dat Boy. So now we got a frog on a unicycle, and
if you got 6 kids and you beat one to death, that's a fucking win in my book.
Why is that?
Because now you only have 5 kids.
I guess you could term that success. If you're black. Again, we're also begging for origins from across the state.
Don't say it's because he's black. Say it's because children are horrible.
Yeah, they suck. That's why we don't have one, and RJ does.
I have 2. I just pretend like I don't.
So, yeah, Dat Boy, he appears in all the... So it's a frog on a unicycle, and I guess...
And I only pay for one.
the situation it seems that he's inserted in is like he appears in these things where it's like, I guess what is it like kind of you'd call it an illustration of ebonics or something, because it's like when I first saw it, it's like you're standing on the street corner.
Dat boy, shit, what up?
Yeah, it's like
they're kind of
sitting on the
fun of.
You're sitting on the street corner with your homies, and then here comes that frog on the unicycle. One of your guys is like, "Oh shit, here come Dat boy," and then people are like, "Oh shit, what up, man?" Like, you know.
Yeah, it's very characteristic of maybe supposedly what could happen on a street corner or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. I've thought that from time to time that potentially that was like middle class white America making fun of like lower class mixed America, whatever. But at the same time, you got to remember the origin and the history of memes. So a frog is very important in that because you had Pepe. Pepe was the original frog meme. Pepe is the sad, weird, cartoony,
the one
drawn frog with the big bulging eyes,
the big lips,
and the big. It's very Afrocentric looking, but Pepe was one of the most viral memes on 4chan. That was where rare memes came. You got a rare Pepe, fucking, repost this in 30 seconds, blah, blah, blah. So a frog was the next logical step in the dumbing down of memes because the most, not necessarily important, but the most well-known and most viral meme was Pepe, who was a frog. Which I also saw a quote-unquote meme, which was like Pepe crying into like his beer and then a split screen with that boy, and it was
when
like
you're no longer that boy,
when you're no longer the frog everybody looks to for guidance or something like that.
So where does the unicycle come from?
It's the frog riding the unicycle. It's just a default GIF.
Oh, the whole thing is
the whole
one
thing.
GIF,
Just
a frog on a unicycle.
It's just a frog on a unicycle. It's just a very simple, easy to create GIF that was part of an original program. The one that I said that was the fat Pac-Man that said, it's that boy, oh shit, what up? When they added oh shit, what up, and they stole that boy's name, that Pac-Man one went pretty viral. That got pretty famous. The one with the black kid with the handlebar mustache, that really didn't get that popular, but the Pac-Man one got super popular and then just like it died in a day, and somebody a couple months later wanted to reinstitute that. Somehow the unicycle frog became this phenomenon, and now apparently it's dead. What, maybe 3 months in?
Yeah, it was pretty short-lived. See,
it has to do with the attention span of our culture, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, and this also is indicative of our research and development in the United States at this present time. The Democratic People's Republic of North Korea is building nuclear weapons. Iran and Syria are using nerve gas on the Kurds, and we're trying to figure out where the rabbit hole leads on this mystery of Dat Boy and other ridiculous social phenomena.
Yeah, Dat Boy, public restrooms, where your penis is supposed to enter and exit, and where your vagina is supposed to enter and exit, and if you have both, where do you go to the bathroom?
We could probably talk about that later. I think that would definitely incorporate into the theme of...
It's all distraction. It's all shills. The black helicopters are circling. The jackboots are tightening. It's time to wake America up, ladies and gentlemen. Dat Boy doesn't mean shit.
And now back to our scheduled programming of David Meyers, Where the Fuck Am I? Featuring Anthony Bourdain.
Dude, how did Alex Jones just hack our podcast like that?
I don't know. Maybe it'll get us some exposure. Is that a black... No, that's not a black helicopter. That's just a large locust. We have a lot of those out here. I did not miss them. But anyway, Dat Boy, RJ, if you're listening to this, this is a tribute to you because you inspired probably the most epic bar brawl outside of a chain restaurant west of the Mississippi.
This is an amazing story inspired by Dat Boy.
In El Paso. Now, set the scene. I'm in El Paso, and we got plenty more stories to talk about that. We're going to have to continue this, but here's a little teaser. So this is just a snippet of what kind of things happen not quite south of the border, but basically on the line of, the pubic hair, as it were.
El Paso's fucking rough, dude.
Yeah. Take East, if anybody who knows what East Liberty is, suck out all the water and magnify it by 10, and that's El Paso. Combine that with Auschwitz, that's El Paso.
And 40% more Mexicans.
Indeed. So, anyway, me and my friend, Aaron, we went down to blow off some steam at the Buffalo Wild Wings. Granted, it's not the, I prefer dive bars myself. Shout out Jim's Bar. Shout out Denny's Roadhouse, the local titty bar that now is kind of in decline ever since the oil boom left and has left me stranded in this shithole known as Western Pennsylvania. But, anyway, skipping to the point. We were drinking, we've been drinking earlier. There's not really a whole lot to do when you live behind a barbed wire fence in a immigrant Mexican community next to a Subway.
This is horrible. I always do this to him and fucking interrupt his stories, but I just love the fact that you said barbed wire. Because you know what I hear most people call it? Bob wire. It's not a fucking barbed wire fence. Bob did not make your fence. It's a barbed wire fence. Thank you. Continue your story.
All right. So we're at Buffalo Wild Wings enjoying their $4.50 Coors Light beer specials, which is it's Soylent Green as people and thank you, sir. Yeah, thank you, sir. May I have another? I've been to places here in the valley where you can get a shot of Patron for $2. It was 10 at Buffalo Wild Wings. Good thing we found that credit card in the parking lot. So yeah, we were outside, and there's a lot of these Mexican immigrants who, if you ever saw Napoleon Dynamite, there's probably about 3 scenes I like from that movie. But Pedro, that stereotype, it really, I thought there's a reason where stereotypes come from. Let's just put it like that. So we're outside. Me and him are drinking our discounted beers and bleeding away our bank accounts. And we're all pretty mellow. Everybody's having a good time. And then this crew of cholos shows up. And they're all like, yo, Holmes, man, yo, you want some Corona, way? Yeah. So they got their beers. And everybody's having a good time, whatever. It's about maybe 11:30. And this is where our friend, the frog on the unicycle, invoked his presence. And
shit, that boy, what up?
And he proceeded to fuck up the rest of my night because we're outside on the patio smoking a cigarette, and this one guy who, and if you ever watch the show Cops, like Scott, maybe as we're continuing into the story, we need to address this.
I've been on the show Cops.
How Mexicans are like two decades behind as far as style goes. Okay, so
you got rat tails, you got high top box fades. You got
Dickies work shirts that look like capes because you only button the top button. You got the white Tupac bandana tied in the front kind of thing going on.
Yeah, they're kicking it in the 90s, for sure.
So, and everybody's either they got that greasy haircut going on with a comb over, or they got their shaved head with tats on the side of their neck and on their head, and they got some sort of facial hair. Usually it's a chin beard. I saw this one guy that had a braid. I thought he was gonna trip. I thought it was a rosary at first, but then I got closer and it was just it was a goatee. Nice. Anyway, this guy comes stumbling over to me, I guess to stick his cigarette in the ashtray or whatever, and he bumps into me. And me being in the state of mind I kind of looked at him. I was like, "Oh, it's that boy." And then he looks at me with this like, "I'm going to kill this motherfucker" look. And he starts walking towards me with his buddies. And then my friend Aaron's like, "Oh shit." The guy comes up to me and he spreads his arms out and he's like, "What up?"
Oh shit, what up?
And so I couldn't help but laugh at this guy, and then pandemonium just ensued. It turned into this brawl, people involved who weren't at all involved. We ran. Actually, I have some pretty good battle scars I ended up sending to Scott, although it wasn't from the actual fight. You got to not wear flip-flops as you're going out to a night in El Paso, I've discovered, because I tripped and fell into a cactus, and it's probably the one time that my mother's phrase is better than a sharp stick in the eye. I almost could not have said that in that situation, because I almost did get a sharp stick in the eye.
Also, you should never wear sandals, period.
They were flip-flops.
Ever. Unless your name's Jesus.
Yes, and as we all know, it's always nice to know that Jesus loves you, unless you're in a Mexican prison, which I very almost was.
Yeah, they make you shit in buckets, dude. It's no joke. It's not a fun time down there.
Yeah, the place I was living, I had to...
Tell them about how you crawled under the fence.
Yeah, that's kind of... It's actually... Donald Trump does have pretty good reason for wanting to build a wall between our borders, because you would be surprised. It is actually... It's not that hard to actually sneak under the fence. It's probably more hard to, get from... I don't know, I guess like...
Across the actual border, because they check your shit.
Yeah, sneaking under the fence is actually not that hard. See, I had to go on, remember, allegedly, don't need to be naming names or anything, because we already saw that black helicopter and heard the jackboots being tightened once tonight, so we'll just allegedly say. So, someone who isn't me, Swim.
Swim!
Yeah.
Oh, I know Swim. I kick it with Swim all the time.
Yeah. So Swim was telling me about how he had to go across the border to get some painkillers because the people he was living with ran out of their prescriptions. So I went walking down to the border. Apparently people walk back and forth across all the time. I had my passport in hand, and I had that, and I had a Pizza Hut receipt in my pocket. And there was really no official checking in. I mean, I waived my passport, I was flagged through. I really could have waived that Pizza Hut receipt and probably been let through. So, we'll get into the long version of this because we want to kind of maybe touch on a few other things before we wrap this up. We got some, limited time here. Some of us have jobs, once again. So,
Ain't me.
So we're gonna, so basically, picked up the OxyContin, allegedly. It could have been Tylenol, I don't know. But I was like, so how am I supposed to get back over? And the guy, his name was Carlos. That could have been maybe his real name, maybe not, maybe one of his 15 names, Carlos Jose Gutierrez Ortiz de la Mancha de la. And I was like, so how do we get back? And he's like, oh, just follow me. So we took a couple turns down some alleys, a lot of guys in wife beaters, a lot of tattoos, a lot of bald heads, and a lot of chin beards. It was like these Mexican guys just discovered who Fred Durst was, and Limp Bizkit became their favorite band. So there's a lot of guys sitting on the porch, but they were all listening to salsa music. So it's kind of like it takes away the I don't know, like the hood factor when you hear just blaring trumpets and maracas. Anyway, we go behind this dumpster, and for a second I was like,
well, Fred Durst made it a very valid point in one of his most popular songs. I did it all for the nookie.
Don't we all?
That really, that can be spread across the board. Race, religion, age, sexual orientation.
Which bathroom you use.
At the end of the day,
I did it for the nookie.
Just trying to get fucked. Just trying to get fucked.
So we went behind this set of dumpsters, and for half a second I was like, I think I might get shanked. But then I thought back to how, well, I'm also about to perhaps get on a plane to go to France, which I'm not actually going to go jump on a Somalian grenade quite yet. So, luckily for our 16 listeners, you'll have some more profane sound waves headed your way over the next year, which we'll get into later. Anyway, so we came to the fence, which is strange because near the airport and where I was living, there's multiple checkpoints, there's sentry towers and border patrol riding around in trucks. But right at the border, there's probably about a 15-foot fence maybe that's 3 feet underground. The guy pulled apart. I was like, so what are we going to, like, cut it open or climb over? Those, they are kind of rusty and dull, but I'm not trying to get tetanus. He's like, oh, no, man, we just crawl under. He pulled aside a refrigerator box, and lo and behold, there was a hole. And I'm like, so is there, like, what do we do now? He's like, just walk under, Holmes. And so I crawled under the fence and looked at him from the other side. He said, have a nice night. And there I was in a Walgreens parking lot, lo and behold.
And is this really so surprising for a culture that broke their biggest drug dealer out of jail several times by digging tunnels?
Oh,
Who is
Chapo.
very... Yeah, El Chapo.
He's getting extradited. All they had to do was go to the Walgreens
A
parking
culture
lot.
that is very well known for digging tunnels under the walls we create. Not to mention, there's the Pacific Ocean on one side and the Gulf of Mexico on the other side. Build a wall all day to jump in a fucking raft, man. You ain't keeping them motherfuckers out of here.
Yeah. So yeah, I went to Walgreens and
I say motherfuckers with all due respect.
Indeed. So yeah, I went to Walgreens to to pick up some mixers and some other beverages for my roommates at the time, and I got in a couple conversations with some people, and apparently it's totally legit. People always sneak under that fence. You know, it's one of those things. Harking back to, I get arrested for being drunk on my own private property and trespassing on it, but it's easy to sneak under a fence and commit felonies, which will be the topic of one of our future episodes. We have plenty of stories of this, my many travels. Mexico, of course. Stay tuned. We have the Greyhound bus station. We have the trip to LA, the May Day riots, and we'll be speaking about how I'm currently aspiring to be the most interesting man in the world, and actually I might have a chance in the running. Scott's got to come over and tell about it, but he's preoccupied for a moment. So, little scat right there. All right, Scott's back.
Okay, what are you talking about?
Oh, we're wrapping it up kind of right now. I was talking about giving them a little bit preview about, we got more stories of Texas, David Meyers' adventures of where the hell am I right now, and how I'm in the running for the most interesting man in the world, and how I might have a chance now because apparently the most interesting man in the world is going to Mars.
He is.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are supposed to go to Mars.
Well, I'm hoping they send him because I'm ready to take the title.
The problem with that bullshit is you can sign up all day to go to Mars.
Mm-hmm.
You're not passing all the physicals, all the intelligence tests, all the background checks that are required to go there, on top of the fact that there's no literal mission yet. It's just all in theory, and it's just all like, well, we have the technology, we have the this. A, it's a one-way trip. B, they're only sending somebody one way who's going to give back more data than all the other people who qualified for the trip.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, like, fucking Lance Bass from NSYNC signed up for this shit. Bunch of people, yeah, absolutely. You fact check that all day.
Did that boy sign up?
That boy signed up. Fucking Michael Jackson's oldest daughter, Paris, signed up. Like, lots of people can. Anybody can sign up. Are you going to pass any of the clearances? Are you going to get to be that guy? No. Why? Mars is gay.
Or you're that boy.
Oh, shit, what up?
So, yeah. Anyway, well, he's kind of old. I'm hoping he dies, because I am, as we'll figure out. And
I'm not that old.
Not you. I'm talking about. I'm talking about the most interesting man in the world. No, but as you'll see in coming episodes why I'm in the running for that. I got a pretty good candidacy. I'm probably going to be the primary nominee from the white Latino race.
You're the only nominee, motherfucker.
Indeed. Because I don't always commit felonies, but when I do, it's because I drink Dos Equis. So,
Bring 'em out, bring 'em out, bring 'em out, bring 'em out. It's hard to yell when the barrel's in your mouth.
That boy's here.
go, that boy!
You know we got a party with Dad Boy, so we gotta cut this shit short.
And I gotta go to work tomorrow. I gotta go break rocks. I'm Jean Valjean from Les Miserables coming in, allegedly. Escape Mars.
He's legit breaking rocks for work tomorrow. That's where this kid's life is going.
Mm-hmm.
I, on the other hand, am going to be taking a one-week trip to Tennessee for work. Details to be divulged later. So there will be at least a one-week hiatus for the next podcast.
Indeed, and Well, that really kind of wraps it up.
Oh fuck, that boy, get your unicycle out of my bathroom, man.
Woo! Hashtag Black Lives Matter.
With other southern rapper hooded than this. I got rich and I'm still in a hooligan clique. You be rapping by blow, I don't move in the brick. You talk about shooting out, now we're doing it, prick. If I hit you in the face, you gon' be suing me quick. If I catch another case, I know it truly be missed. So I'ma keep a cool head, stay out of the news headlines, and show these other rappers it's bedtime. It's clear to see that I'm ahead of my time. I copy chromed out, hard talk, career with a shine. I got some time, they ain't nothing, I get better with time. Who got a flow and a live show better than mine? I got a packed house yelling, bring 'em out.